Okay guys, for the supplies that we'll need today is a yarn, and go based upon your label because today I am using a bulkier sized weight yarn than I normally do. So this one is bulky and it requires a size 6 crochet hook, so that's what I have here. But just use whatever yarn you want and go upon the label. It will say what size yarn hook is recommended for the size of the yarn, okay? Then I just have a darning needle and a pair of scissors. So that's all we'll need today, so gather your supplies and meet me back here and we'll start our continuous granny square blanket. Okay, so what we're going to start with is our slip knot. And once you have that on your hook, we're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you're going to go back into this very first chain here that we made, and we are going to insert our hook, pull that yarn through, and go straight through the next loop, okay, to make a ring. Let me open it up here so you can see. Right down in there, that is our little ring that we're going to be working into, okay? So what you're going to do after that is chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to double crochet into that ring. Once, and then you're going to double crochet into that same ring again. And 2. We only do this with this first one because when we did that chain 3 in the beginning there, that counts as a double crochet for us. So technically we have 1, 2, and 3, okay? Okay, so then we're reaching a corner here already, so we're going to chain 2. So 1 and 2. And now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put a double crochet into that ring. That's 1. Put another double crochet into the ring. That's 2. And then put a third double crochet into that ring. Okay? And then we're going to chain 2 again. So let me show you what we got here so far. We got our one cluster here, a corner here, and then we just made our second cluster and another corner, okay? So we want a total of 4 of those, so it turns into our square. So do 3 more double crochets into that circle. Chain 2. So we got 1 cluster, 2 cluster, and 3 cluster. So now we need our 4th one. So double crochet 3 more times into that ring. Okay. Okay, so we are finishing up our first row here. So we are going to chain 2. And then you're going to find your first chain here. At the top, you are just going to slip stitch that together. Okay, and let me take out my hook and show you guys now. So we have 1 cluster, 2 clusters, 3 clusters, 4. And then there should also be the 4 corners. Okay, so because this is a continuous granny square, what'll be nice is once we get going after the next round, we're not going to have to flip our work at all anymore. And generally with granny squares, every row you have to flip it, okay? So what we do for this one is we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and just for this row we are going to flip it. And now your corner should be right here. So what we're going to do is put 2 double crochet into that corner, And then we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to put 3 double crochet into that corner, into that same corner that we were just working on. And that was my third. So I'm going to take out my yarn again and show you. So we just defined this corner even more now than the previous round, okay? So that is what we're going to want to see. Okay? Like I said, this is the only time that we're having to flip our work. So this granny square goes by much quicker than a regular granny square, which is nice. Okay, so now we just chain 1 because we are not in a corner right now. We are going over to our next corner. Okay, so you chain 1 there and go to that next corner space, and you're going to put 3 double crochet into there. Now we are trying to go around our corner, so we're going to chain 2, go back into that same spot we just went into, and put 3 more double crochet. So again, we need to chain 1, and then we're going to jump into the next corner. So 3 double crochet into that next corner space. And then we're trying to go around our corner again here. So now we want to chain 2, and then put 3 more into that corner space. Three more double crochet, sorry. Okay, and then we want to continue on with chain 1, and then into our last corner space here, we're going to put 3 more double crochet. And going around the corner again, so chain 2, and then 3 more double crochet right into that space. And then I'm going to take my hook out and show you. This is where we obviously had started our row. So corner, 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 and corner again. So perfect, that's how you want it to look. Okay, so now that I showed you that, and hopefully yours looks the same also, like I said, this is a continuous granny square, so it's a little different than the regular granny squares that you do. Normally when you do a regular granny square, you're going to have this line showing that, you know, every row you connected your row. So with this one, it's going to be like an invisible line. You're not going to see it. This next part was tricky for me when I first learned, and it looks a little wonky, but don't worry, once you get your project going, you're not even going to be able to tell that it's there, okay? So just follow me and I promise it'll work out. Trust the process, okay? So here we go. We are going to chain our 1 because we are in the center of clusters, and you're going to double crochet straight into this first chain space on this one. This is the only row we're going to do this in. So yarn over, do your double crochet right into that first chain space, or first double crochet, I guess, and then put 2 more. So we need a total of 3 into him. Okay, and once you finished your 3 double crochet, you're going to chain 1 and then move along right into that next corner here, okay? And you're going to put 3 double crochet into that corner space. and then you're going to chain 2, and then you're going to do 3 double crochet into that same corner space. Okay, when you're done with that, you're going to chain. Okay, so after the chain 1 here, you're going to put 3 double crochet into that cluster opening. And then chain 1, and we reached another corner, so then you're going to put 3 double crochet into that corner. And then because we're at a corner, you chain 2, and then 3 double crochet into that same corner space. And then you're going to chain 1 and work into that opening in between the clusters. Put 3 double crochet. And chain 1, and then we've reached another corner space. So put 3 double crochet into that corner. And because it's a corner, you're going to chain 2, and then 3 more double crochet into that corner. And then chain 1, and 3 more into the next opening in between your clusters. And then chain 1. And then we reached another corner, so 3 clusters into that corner. Once you have your 3, then you're going to chain 2 and 3 more double crochet into that opening. Chain 1, and then you're going to go into that next opening with 3 double crochets. And chain 1. Now, I'm going to pull out my hook and just take a little assessment here to show you guys. So, basically now we just hit that opening that I was telling you about that's going to look a little wonky. As you can see, it is a little more open than the rest of our openings, but it's going to blend right together once you have your blanket completed. It's going to be so big that no one's even going to be able to tell that's where we connected everything and where we made it, so we don't have to continuously flip our work every row, okay? So I'll go through a few more rounds with you guys, but honestly, this is all that you're going to do the rest of the entire blanket, so you make it as big as you want. I generally make these a lot for baby blankets, but you can make a bigger size blanket. Actually, let me pull my yarn out here. I use these to make even my book sleeves. This is the exact granny square pattern that we're using that I make my book sleeves with. I've made this granny square using tops also. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with this, and this is just a mindless one. It's repetitive the whole time. So once we chain our 1, we're going to go into the next space here and just make 3 double crochets again. And then chain 1, and we reached our first corner of this row. So chain 1 and then put in 3 double crochet into that corner. And then because it's a corner, you're going to chain 2 and then put 3 more into that same space. 3 more double crochet. And now we're going to chain 1 because it's not a corner, and then 3 more double crochet into that next space. And we're just going to do this pattern all the way around, like I said. So it's nice. You don't have to join nothing any longer after that first row like I showed you. Chain 1 and then 3 double crochet into that next space. You just keep going around in a square like this the whole rest of your project. All you have to remember to do is just chain 1 after your 3 cluster when it is not a corner. And then when you are on a corner, after your 3 double crochet cluster, you have to remember it's a corner, so I have to do 2. So 1 and 2 right there because we're on a corner. And then you just double crochet 3 of them back into that same corner. So after this one, we're moving to a space that is not a corner, so we chain 1. So just 3 double crochet right into this space because it's not the corner. So that's all you have to remember, okay? So let's take our hook out and look at where we are. So don't mind my strings up here. So yeah, we got our basically 4 corners here. And it's just continuing right around. So we are doing good. So just continue that until you have it the size that you want. Save enough yarn so that we can make a little border around it, and we'll get back to each other when we are done and at our size that we want, okay? Okay, so for the purpose of the video, I kept mine small, and hopefully you have gradually made yours bigger to the size of your liking. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to start showing you how to do a simple border. Now you can use this border for this blanket, you can use it for really any blanket, okay? And this is a small shell. So you can start it anywhere in your blanket, but I like to start it after I just finish a corner of my blanket. So we are going to start it into the next space of our clusters here. So what we're going to do is work into this cluster of 3 first. So the first one right after our hole that we did, we're going to work into this first cluster, and all we're going to do is into the center of that we're going to make a slip stitch. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go into the next cluster here, and instead of doing 3 double crochet, we are going to do 4 double crochet. So yarn over, go into that space, yarn over and pull through to make 1, yarn over and pull through. So that was 1, 2, 3, and 4, all into that same space. Now we are going to go into our cluster here again, and we are going to just slip stitch into that first one again. So make a slip stitch, And then we're going to go into our next opening in between our clusters and make 4 double crochet again. Three and 4, and we're just going to keep doing this all the way around our row here. So we finished our 4 double crochet, so go into that next space of your cluster and make a slip stitch, and then into the next opening there another 4 double crochet. We came upon another row of 3, so you just insert your hook and make a whoops and you just make a slip stitch there. That one doesn't want to come. There we go. And then I'm on my last one because I said I'm using this as a sample for you guys. So I'm going to make another 4 double crochet into there. Okay. And then we've come to our corner. So now that we reached my corner, I have it shown here for you. It's going to make those little shells like this now around the border, okay? So it's a really easy border to do, like I said, on any blanket. It gives it just a little bit of something instead of just the rough edge like this, say. So your row is going to obviously be longer because your blanket is probably longer than my little sample piece here for you. So just continuously do that. In the spaces, you're going to do the 4 double crochet, and then you link that with the slip stitch, okay? And then another 4 double crochet, slip stitch, 4 double crochet. Keep going until you have reached your corner, and then I'll show you how to do the corner together, okay? Okay, so for the corner, what you're going to do is again anchor it down with that slip stitch like we were doing, and then in the corner here you're going to do 7 double crochet, and that is what's going to give you the curve effect around the corner, okay? Need some more yarn here. Six and 7. So a total of 7 around that corner. And then you're just going to anchor that part down again with that slip stitch into that first spot there, okay? So as you can see, we went around the corner and it made it nice and curved there for you, okay? So keep doing this all the way around your blanket. So for the flat rows, you're going to do the 4 double crochet into those spaces and then slip stitch it. 4 slip stitch. And then around the corners, you're going to do the 7. Okay? Meet me back here when you've done all that to your blanket. Okay, so I went around my last corner here of my shell, and normally you would think that we would continue on with the next space, but you don't because we're at the end here. So this is going to seem like a long stretch, but I promise it'll work out and blend in the end of it. So instead of slip stitching on this next shell like we were doing, what we're going to do is we're going to skip to the next shell, okay? And you're going to find that first top stitch of that shell and insert your hook and do a slip stitch to connect that. And then let me pull out my yarn here, and it is going to look pretty blended together here. Okay, so we did the border all the way around. We have that. And then we just ended right here, okay? So now what you're going to do is snip that yarn off. And we're going to get rid of that yarn first of all. And we're just going to find our darning needle. And we're going to tie these ends all in, hide all these ends up, okay? So you just kind of continue around in our little ring here that we initially made to start our blanket. If you haven't seen my other videos, I go through about 4 or 5 of those, and then I take it right back through in the opposite direction and go through about 4 or 5 of those stitches also, and that'll be enough to secure it. And then snip that one off. Get rid of that yarn. And then we just do the same thing to our ending here. You're probably going to have, depending if you used more than one skein, you might have more ends than I do, but like I said, this is just a sample piece for you guys to see. Go through some of those stitches. And when it comes to different colored blankets, like this is a multicolored yarn, or if you used more than one skein in different colors of yarn, just try to get these ends that you're weaving in into the same ends of the same colors, okay? So if I had like a black and white yarn and I'm tying in white into the black yarn, it's going to be a lot more obvious than if you just stuck with the white, you know? Just a little tip for you. And then cut that one off. And we have our blanket all here. Now, with the granny squares, you can block these. I do plan on making videos of how to block them just because the stitches are tight right now. So once you block them, they loosen up quite a bit. Even with wear and washing, they're going to loosen up that way as well. So so that is the basic granny square that I do with the mini shell or small shell border around it, okay? And then that's the back side, so it's basically the same, but with a blanket you can't really tell. There's not really a front and a back. It's not like a piece of clothing. So there you have it. That is the end of your project. So good job. This is my go-to blanket when I'm in a hurry and I need it for a quick baby shower gift, things like that, okay? Thank you. If you liked the video, please like it and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.